So, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Living Life with Denise, or you can call me Nikki, whatever works for you. And I'm here with the amazing Dawn Ranieri. Dawn and I met at I think it was a craft fair. And it was
Mhm.
one of those weird things because normally I do not like craft fairs. But for some reason, I was beating the door down to come to this one. I wanted everything to go there. And it was because I was going to meet beautiful people like Dawn, who we immediately made a connection, and we've stayed in touch since that fair. And today we're going to talk about just healing, improving your health with frequency. And I remember years ago, I read that humans were going to use frequency as a way to heal themselves. And they were going to be able to check their frequency in a mirror. And that would tell them what they needed to work on that day. And so when I met someone like Dawn, I was like, I'm intrigued, I'm interested,
Mhm.
and I want to know more. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She's a woman of integrity. She's passionate about helping people to heal. She is a woman who is a great networker. And she, of course, her goal, of course, is to help mankind be better. But enough about me talking about Dawn. Why don't we have her introduce herself? Go ahead, Dawn.
Well, thank you so much. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, it was so great meeting you at that event. I kind of felt the same way. It was interesting because it was like um, there wasn't many people coming through, but the connections I think that we met, that we had there, they're for a lifetime. So thank you for being there. So I'm Dawn Ranieri. I am a frequency practitioner and trainer. I have, been attuned to Reiki for over 15 years. I'm, not even though I don't use Reiki as much, only for certain things. Um, what I've really been doing for the last 3 years is working with Healy, and I'm also a sacred soul and sacred light practitioner um, since like 2019, which is also working with sacred codes, and it amplifies what I'm going to tell you about with Healy, because it's just working on bringing you back to that balance, removing all those limiting beliefs, fears, traumas, downloading those new emotions, and helping you to remember who you truly are. So that's my biggest goal in what I do.
It's so funny that you talk about remembering who you are because I remember when I got that download to remind people who they are. And since I got that download, I've heard so many people talking about helping people to remember who they are because I think we forgot.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, from the years 0 to 7, we get bombarded with all of this, brainwashing or whatever you want to call it. These teachings, we're looking up to these authorities because this is all we know, and we don't know any better to question. So this becomes our beliefs, and through our lives, we're always looking to kind of confirm what we already know instead of question. And what happens is we're just putting here goes my voice. We're
It's
just
okay.
putting more, layers on top and on top, and we forget that we're this human being, this divine, wow, this divine aspect. It's interesting because anytime I do something like this and I start talking about healing work, I lose my voice. So
Oh, well, we just release that and just
yeah.
send it love that you can share because people need to know about this.
Yeah,
But
so
I
remembering is really important. And it's like we already have everything within us. And, we can talk about law of attraction and all that attracting, but honestly, most of it we already have. We're already love, we're already wealth. And it's just kind of getting rid of those blocks and those, destroying that wall. And then that beautiful light is right there. And we're actually resonating that outward.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I know that between 0 and 7, that's when a lot of us got our programs. And it's funny because I still walk around with some beliefs from I was 7. A lot of us do,
Oh, sure.
you know, and that's why we have people like you and we have practitioners who help to remove those blocks because you don't know why you do so and so, but then it was something that happened between 0 and 7 that made you decide that, this is how I'm going to be. So
And not even just that, but we also have, all the generational stuff coming up, information coming in. We've got, for those that believe or not about karma, it's all of that energy too. So sometimes it's not even from this lifetime. It can be from other times. It can be, because when I'm scanning people with the Healy, there's times where, information's coming up from, they're getting hit with everything. They're getting the karma. They're getting, things from their parents, from their grandparents, and from other generations. So it's a whole bunch of information that now needs to be cleared in order for them to be able to move forward.
You know what? That is absolutely true, because it's not just you, it's everything. I was watching something one time and they talked about the DNA. And the DNA is what we inherit when we come into this body.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes in all the ancestors, all that kind of stuff. And that's what you have to unclog. You have to remove from the energy field of the person, right? And the body, right, Dawn? With the Healy.
Yeah, it does help to bring the DNA back to a place of what's genetically yours, and
Mhm.
clearing out what doesn't really belong to you, because even though that energy is coming in through generational, um, it's the same thing with like illness and disease. We really are not defined by our parents' illness.
That is
You
true.
know, it's I mean, most of everything comes back to our thoughts and our emotions. So, when we work on that, I mean, and this is where that's my thing that I love to teach more than anything. I mean, yeah, we can use these devices, we can use all this other energy work, but it's mainly really focusing on the thoughts and the emotions, because our emotions are either our destruction or our success in life. So, when we can work on that and be coherently, electric and magnetic, and have those two aligned, that genetic stuff, most of the,
It dissolves, right?
97% of the time, it doesn't matter, because we're in charge of what we create in our lives, in our body.
Yeah. I was also, yeah, I agree with you on that. I think what I meant when I talked about like the genetic stuff,
Mm-hmm.
in the DNA, for example, fear, emotions encode things in our body,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's say someone was afraid of something back then and it gets encoded in the body, but we don't know it's there.
Right.
So we can still use love, of course, and the brain and the heart, but then sometimes we work on it, it doesn't come out. Would the Healy be able to remove some of that stuff that's encoded in there from ancestors in the past?
Yes. So what's really neat about Healy, so it's kind of a twofold thing. Healy has a whole side that's microcurrent. So you can
Mm-hmm.
actually connect to it, and you can work on a cellular level. But the really fascinating side is kind of what you're talking about. And it's the resonance, which does different types of scanning. But normally, when I first work with someone, no matter if it's a illness or not, we know that most of our illnesses are actually coming from our thoughts and emotions.
Yes, that's true.
So it's really important to see how much you can clear of that than just going like, oh my God, I have a back pain, so let's work on the back, work on
Correct.
that. It's better to work on seeing what we can clear, because who knows how many years or lifetimes some of this energy has built up. So what Healy does is it has this aura scan. So it will, and it has, so when you were talking about the mirror, it has this thing called a quantum mirror or quantum sensor in it. And it picks up your environment, you as the environment, and it also picks up your information field. So everything around you that you're bringing through, and it will scan your body and your mind, and it lets me know in real time at that moment what is going on. What are those limiting beliefs? Where did they come from? Is it karmic? Is it parents? Is it grandparents? Is it generational? Is it something that has to do more with your thoughts that you
Mm-hmm.
need to reprogram, or is it something that's emotional, mental, that, or I'm sorry, yeah, emotional, that we need to dissolve? So it gives me everything. I mean, there's times, I've worked on people where it freaks them out. It's like, oh my God, this comes from the father. This comes from, like, male energies or whatever. And so it's giving you that right then and there. and we can run those frequencies. It delivers the exact frequencies that need to start, taking that apart and dissolving those issues. So it's really fascinating what this can do. So yes, to answer your question, yes, it can do that.
It's so funny. When we did our first Healy session, because it will be the first of many, I noticed, there was a reading that I got and I was very concerned about it. And I'm so glad that I got that reading because I had forgotten of something that I decided when I was 4 years old. I'd forgotten about that. And because of that reading, I was able to correct that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was walking around with 4-year-old beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So it really does make a difference. It does make a
Oh
difference.
yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I've noticed even when people just are able to clear just that aspect, all the emotions that, we have all these inner children. Some people will say inner child, but I feel like we have all of these inner children that are stuck depending on those ages and whatever has happened. And it's so great when we can start to set them free, because what happens is you'll notice that some of those illnesses will just disappear without having to do any other work. And it's so great to see that, with some clients, because it's like, wow, I don't need to work on this because we took care of all of that. And, that may also help other things that may have started to compile together that may have caused more illness down the road that maybe now you're not going to have to deal with.
You know what? It's like unpacking a suitcase, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, it's peeling those layers. So, and then sometimes there will be more things that we need to work on, but being able to run those frequencies, and then, then I can scan the body as well, and I can see what places are off balance. And then, the same thing, it kind of tells me the areas. It's not always, if it comes up kidney, doesn't mean it's always kidney. It just means there's like 500 to 700 frequencies within each of these programs. So there's 220 programs in Healy, and there's about 10 million frequencies.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot. So, sometimes it'll pull from areas of your body that maybe those frequencies are usually in there. And so, it may come up as kidney, and, maybe down the road it could be a kidney issue, or maybe it's just there's a lot of the frequencies, the hertz in that kidney program that for you is needed. So it's bringing up kidney. But the main thing is, I always tell people, don't always look at the numbers, don't always look at, just know that now you're receiving the frequencies that you're going to need for wherever it really is in your body that these frequencies need to go. That's going to put you back in balance. So that's the most important thing.
Mm. I just love the idea of a technology like this. And I know that it's something new, so people really do have to get familiar with it. But this technology is game changing. You won't have to, let's just say, you won't have to do all the things that you thought you needed to do. It's as simple as just getting a scan, knowing what is going on, and having a practitioner, a professional like Dawn, work with you on those issues.
So I know when I first was introduced to this almost 3 years ago, the thought of technology and a device, I was just like, I don't know. And I literally had to meditate on it. And I heard this makes the invisible visible, and that this was going to be important for the world. And yeah, it still gives me goosebumps, literally. And it does. I mean, I literally can see what's on there, because I know my self confidence wasn't always wonderful, and it still isn't. I'm still working on myself as I go. It definitely has helped with that a lot, though. But just even being able to show people, like, that don't maybe understand the aspects of energy and frequency, they get to see it on screen, like really in time. What is going on? So it's just fascinating.
I like meditating, and a lot of people who know me know that I like meditation. And the things that will come through, I call them downloads, that will come through is just amazing. Things that helped, ideas that help you
Yep.
to continue your evolution. And the fact that you got the download that, this is going to help mankind, because I was looking for stuff like this. Because I remember I read a book called Robes by Penny
Mhm.
Kelly.
We talked about that.
And
Yeah.
You've heard of it?
No, well, we talked about it.
We talked about it,
Yeah.
right? And whether you guys believe it or not, we do have extraterrestrials. And you can call me crazy, whatever, but we do. And she
And
was
they're
visiting.
here already. The bad ones will not be able to come in anymore, and that's a whole other conversation we could have. But
Yeah,
yeah.
they're here. They're here to help us. Some of them are here to help us. Let's put it like that. And she talked about being visited by these, she called them men in brown robes. And they showed her what Earth was going to be like up to 2400. And she talked about, let's just say, she talked about that frequency healer. And she said, we're just going to use frequency to heal ourselves. And I kept thinking, God, where is this technology? Why can't I find it? And then we had our little time when we went indoors, and then suddenly the teacher started showing up. I have a frequency healer who does everything just by phone. And we just did it over a Zoom.
Yeah.
You don't need to physically be there. So you can send energy to help anybody, and people can correct their issues.
The most powerful part of this is your intention. It's just like Reiki and other energy systems. I mean, energy is everywhere. So, if you set that intention for somebody to receive something and they're open to receive it, it's going to happen. And I know it still can be hard for people to understand that, but it's all scientific. You can.
It is.
Energy, everything's energy, and everything has a frequency. And yeah, this device, I mean, it's. I love the community that I'm in with this, because so many people around 2020 prayed for something.
I did too.
And what happened is a lot of us now are saying, God gave us this. He gave us this because it's here to help humanity. And it's not supposed to take away from anything that you're already doing. Like, I still use my intuition with this sometimes. I don't want to just scan and just forget it. It's still is so potent when we are really in that heart-mind coherence, and we're working together with even taking action on some of the things that we may need to do, because we're still here to experience and go through everything we're doing. So we want to do some of the work. It's not like, oh, I want to pick up this device, scan me, and all right, run frequencies, and I'll just go on my day. Like, we really want to work on those issues ourselves too, and be part of the whole healing process. But this is great for somebody that's already doing Reiki or coaching or like fitness. I mean, this device works for everything, and it just amplifies what you're doing. And honestly, I see this being in the hands of every single human being, because you can use this every day on yourself. And either if you have a pain and you have a pain, run what you have. If you have a shoulder pain or a back pain or a headache, you can go directly to something and run it. Or, maybe you're intuitively want to use it and see what comes up and just go with that. Or you use a scan. But this can benefit everybody. And, we had talked when you had told me about this book, and, I had some visions, and I'm not going to really go into them because they're not the most pleasant ones. But, I could see finally what was coming, and this clock changing. And I keep hearing Healy is one of the solutions for this. And, so even though I love doing sessions, what I've been pretty much spending my time doing is building a team. And, for the last 3 years, really training other professionals that are coming through here, healers, how to use this device first on themselves, because that's so important, right? Because we want to be the best that we can be, so that we are the best for our clients. And then, being able to teach them how to use it correctly, and then how to use it for their clients and bring them through. So that has been my goal, because this device is limitless. And I mean, I can even put it in my client section, collective consciousness, and run programs and scan and run programs for the collective as a whole. And whoever's ready to receive those frequencies can receive them. I can create custom programs in here myself. So it really is limitless. And the only thing that's holding you back is your, creative mind.
It's so funny. We keep talking about energy and the limitness of the Healy, but in addition to that, it's you talked about the intention, and intention is everything. Whether your intention is good or bad, and you use the Healy, you want to get it in everybody's hand because you know that it can make a big difference for mankind.
I know without a doubt. I really do. Yeah.
Mm, nice. Very, very nice. Very nice. So tell me your journey. Hold on a second. I forgot to ask. How did you get the Healy? How did you get involved with this company?
So I had a friend of mine 3 years ago. Actually, Healy just turned 4. Had a birthday in January, but
Happy birthday.
yeah. Um, but I had a friend of mine who reached out to me. She was another spiritual healer, and she reached out to me on Facebook and said, "Hey, I want to show you this device. I'd like to do a free scan on you." And I'm like, again, her device, but I was like, all right, sure, why not? She ran a scan. I was very impressed with the device, but I still had that like, device technology, AI, all that stuff
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
head. And so that's why I did. I meditated on it, and when I got those, when I got a couple of those things, about it makes the invisible visible, it hit home for me because of my lack of confidence sometimes in myself, and the people that I was working with at the time, especially around our area, um, energy work and all of that was still kind of uh,
Woo woo.
taboo, maybe, yeah, woo woo, and so I'm like, wow, this will make this visible, and just the whole thing about humanity and having an idea of things that were starting to show up. Um, I was like, I went in right away, and the thing was, so this was 2020. So for me, I had to wait 6 months for this device to show up.
Wow.
Now you can get it in a week, but because of all the things going on in the world and not being able to get things delivered because this is coming from Germany at the time. Um, but I was still able to my whatever I call her mentor at the time that had showed this to me. I was able to bring in other practitioners and healers before I even had my device because she was scanning them for me and they were blown away. And I only brought in my mindset was I want to bring in healers and coaches and practitioners who feel the way I do and really want to help this world, but feel stuck somehow in our own sense. And they were all joining, and ordering their devices. So it's been great because I'm building a team of people that their mindset really is to help this planet. And that's who I really want to focus on. And of course people that want to help heal themselves because that's part of this. I want people to really want to work on themselves first and be in that wholeness that they deserve to be and remember who they are so that then they can be their best for this planet.
It's, one of, well, I'll tell you, my first experience with frequency healing before I say what I'm going to say was I had the healing and the session. And she said, "Oh, you have a problem with your shoulder." And I'm
Mm.
like, how did she know that? For months at the beginning of 2020, when everything started, I had shoulder pain and I didn't tell anyone. Only my husband knew about it. And the device was able to pick it up.
Hmm.
So I am a firm believer in that. And then I like also one thing that I learned from my mentors is in order for you to help other people, you got to help yourself first, right? So
Absolutely.
I love that you say, use it on yourself, get yourself physician, heal thyself, help yourself. And then you'll, of course, your frequency will be up, your vibration will be higher anyway. And then,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yes,
you're going to align with the people that you're supposed to be with. And that's very important because that's who you want to be aligned with.
that is absolutely true. Did you know, Don, that one person at a love frequency of 500 who calibrates at the frequency of love at 500 raises the calibration of 750,000 people on earth who vibrate at numbers below 200.
I absolutely believe it. Yes.
Yeah.
Because even our thoughts, by the time the day is done, our thoughts that we have are already going. around the planet. That's how much we can impact people. One of the things that I learned from one of the mentors in this wonderful business is that we have, what is it, 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day.
Mm-hmm.
85% of them are negative, and I think it's like 95% are from the day before. But on top of that, we have 800,000 cells per second that are rejuvenating. And the thing is, what are they regenerating as, if all of these thoughts? So it really makes you think, like, where am I? What am I aligned to right now? Because if you're aligned to this lower frequencies, if your cells are being regenerated at a lower frequency within your body and in your information space, because we know 90% of that junk DNA is really the information space that's helping to create these other cells.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important for us to really start working on, like, how do I get aligned to a more positive state, and be aligned to a frequency where I'm at health and love, so my body's getting better. And also, yeah, because we are, our thoughts and what we put out there is impacting people. I mean, I know you probably go through the same thing. I'm an empath. All of us are really empaths, but some of us can feel it stronger. There's days where I'm in the greatest mood, and then bam, I feel like, look, what just happened? And I mean, I'll sit there and be like, who does this belong to? And it's not mine. And it's because, if most of the planet is not in a healthy, happy state at that time, we are feeling that.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
do.
like, how can we get most of the majority to a place of love and happiness and joy? And it's really becoming aware of what our thoughts are more of that day, and being in that heart space, and creating like what we want, and just seeing that and feeling that. And we can really shift a lot. And that's where this thing just amplifies it more. you know um, so it's great when we can do that, when we can help first ourselves, but then really try to bring our light out to others so that they can kind of be aligned to that beautiful frequency of love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I love how you talked about the power of the thoughts. Again, you reiterated that because I was actually watching a clip on YouTube, and people were meditating, and they focused, 1,000 meditators gathered together every day, and they meditated on places that had war. And the
Mm,
day, whenever they did it, war decreased.
mm,
It just decreased. And whenever they stopped, it went back. So then with tools like the Healy, it's raising everyone's vibration so they think better thoughts, so they can focus on peace, love, and harmony, and perhaps and do their part to make sure that as humans we evolve and don't kill ourselves, that we love
yeah,
ourselves instead.
absolutely. Yeah, it's neat because a lot of us will get together too, and we'll run, like, I'm running coherence right now, so that I'm staying as much in that heart and mind. But even if it's on microcurrent and I have the coil on, so I don't have to be attached to anything right now, but I can still set the intention that I'm not the only one receiving this, and I know that this frequency is going to go, outward. And I do that all the time. I'm always running it for the planet and for people that are able to um, experience at this time. And a lot of us will get together and do these meditations together with our Heelys and put it on. Being or coherence, especially because they're two of the most beautiful, because you're really being into that mind and heart space. But I mean, even without the Healy, I mean, it's just being in that mindset and just being in that pure love, and wanting to send love out to the world. I mean, all of us are capable of doing that at any time.
That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. So tell me, before we move on, where can people, if people wanted to get this Healy, where would they find it, and where would they find you?
So my website is called avibeabove, so avibeabove.com. I do have information on Healy. I believe I have a tab that's actually called Healy. So you'll see I do some coaching sessions there, as well as there's information on where you can get it. You can also, I kind of did a short little a link for Healy too. So if you go to bit.ly-Healy Vibe, you can find it there as well. There's 5 editions. So there's 2 that are just based on the microcurrent.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 3 are based on the microcurrent plus the resonance, and they just have different programs in it. So I always just tell people, look at what you want to use this device for.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't want to pick, because some people are like, oh, what do you think for me? But I'd rather people pick for themselves. I mean, I can always help guide you, but, is this just for you? Is this for your family? Do you want to just have the microcurrent and just work on a cellular level? Or are you looking to really use these scans? Because not only can you do the aura and see what chakras are, the lowest, but you can scan your body. There's also in the top 2, which are the Healy Resonance and the Healy Professional, there are the coaching modules. And the coaching modules, for anybody that's any type of coach, this will literally take your business to the next level, because you're putting in a focus for the client. They're putting in whatever the focus is. And it's always, of course, present and positive, mm-hmm. and as specific as you can be. You're picking certain aspects of, money, relationships, whatever it is, and you're still scanning. It's still telling you, from your focus, here's your desired state. This is what you're asking for. But here are all the things that are holding you back. So for a coach, sometimes to get to that place with a client, it could take 6 months, right? It could take longer. This pretty much gets you there in 5 minutes.
Wow.
So helping that client in 5 minutes on that specific desired focus, all the things that are holding them back, where it's coming from, you're starting to run those frequencies, you're giving them ideas, journaling will help, tapping will help, whatever it is that, your business is, your type of coaching. It's phenomenal. So again, it really depends on who and what you're using this for, what the best device is. And I'm always happy to guide someone, mm-hmm. a little bit more, if you're looking at specific ones. I was lucky when I got in. I was in at the beginning of this device when it came to America. This actually comes from a bigger device called the Time Waver, which has been around for a long time. It's got over 15 years of research in Germany, but it was a bigger $40,000 device. Not many people can afford it, and this is where all the programs with the frequencies are created from. So this is why they created this smaller device, and very much more affordable, so that anybody can have this and not need to find a Time Waver.
Okay.
So I hope that answers the question. So yes, they can definitely reach out to me if they're looking at these devices and they're not sure. I did get in the beginning, so I was lucky to be grandfathered into some of these frequencies as they began to create more devices, just so that they had things that were, comparable for people of business, or just maybe that just wanted to use it for themselves. I'm trying to think. There are some specials this month till the 28th. So the Resonance and the Resonance Plus are actually 40% off. The Professional, which was the one I was talking about with the coaching, and the Resonance Plus has the coaching too, but the Professional, which has pretty much mostly all of the programs, is 60% off, which is unheard of. And for any of these devices, we also now have financing, and there's zero interest. So I mean, they've really made this affordable for everyone.
So basically, they want to just get it in as many hands as possible, so people can help themselves and help those around them.
Absolutely. And if something resonates with you about this, reach out. I don't mind doing free scans so people can see how this works for themselves before they decide to buy it. Absolutely not a problem doing that.
Okay. Yeah, I had my free scan and it was absolutely amazing. It removed a cap off my heart. And I must tell you, Dawn, that I've been feeling some vibrations in my heart for the last couple of days, good vibrations,
Good.
like tingles, like cool sensation. I feel like my heart is opening up even more. And I know it's in part because of what we did together. So
Wonderful.
I'm
I'm glad to
grateful.
hear that.
Okay. So okay, let's ask some of the questions that I think people might want to know, just in case I missed any. What are some areas that the Healy can help with? I know we talked about some of them already, but are there any others that we can expound on?
Yeah, I mean, fitness,
How?
memory. We did talk about chakras, learning. So anything mental, beauty, skin, um, wealth. I mean, this device either works on wealth, wealth consciousness.
Well,
I'm think what else.
consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I have written down here just so I would remember most of them: pain, sleep, focus, fitness, chakras, meridians, mental, learning, beauty, skin, wealth. There are more. And we talked about clearing limitations in karma and generational. So there's just so much this device can do, and I know I'm probably missing some of the other programs, but there's these gold programs, which is actually the first device, the first edition, which is all, I mean, just alone, and that's all microcurrent. But that device alone has pure, which is removing like toxins and pollutants from your body, being, energy, release, relax, care. So it's all things to help your body. Oh, there's there's defense. So
Hmm.
helping against EMF, 5G,
Oh, really?
planets. This device can also. So if you're like a real estate agent, you can clear out a house with these frequencies, and so you can use the subtle bodies, which is if there is negative energy entities. I clear out, my boyfriend's a real estate agent, so I clear out houses all the time with or without Healy, and a lot of times it's just the energy that gets stuck
Hmm.
because it could be conversations, fights, whatever, different things that have happened within households. It's a lot of times it's not, like, maybe there's a spirit or something there, but it's neat because the Healy can do that too. It can run some beautiful frequencies throughout, like, the areas of a house. And plus you can use this on your pets. You can run frequencies on your plants,
Well,
crystal. I mean, like I said, it's really limitless what this device can do.
I like the one for beauty. Let's. How many modalities can be ran out in one session? Can you do wealth and beauty, or can you do health and beauty? What? How many modalities at one time?
I will run all Healy programs, and what comes up, it'll give me 5 categories. So it may give me pain, focus, fitness, beauty, and skin. Then within them, there's usually, yeah, it could be 2 to 5 programs within those categories that it really feels that you need the most. And it could, again, just be the frequencies from them. So I can go in further, and let's just say beauty, and I can go and run that scan again and pick what are the 5 programs and just focus on that. Or I can run all of those programs at once. And you can do that for as long as you want. So what's great is, you can run stuff for seconds in the frequencies. You can run it for 8 hours. There's even a custom button where, if you want to run it for 2 days, you can run as
What?
long as your battery on your Healy is working. But if you're doing a microcurrent, it's different. They recommend that you only run 3 microcurrents per day. And in the microcurrent section, you are actually picking a specific program. You can run it, and a lot of times it'll give you a time that's good to run it till. Some of the microcurrents are 30 minutes, others are about an hour, and you can stop it ahead of time. But it's always good to run it the full time, because sometimes it'll take a few minutes because you're
Hmm.
not really scanning your body at that time. You're just using the microcurrent, so it'll learn. It's like, all right, because I'm setting the intention, so it's picking up my frequencies. It's learning in a couple of minutes, like, all right, you know what, she needs these specific um, frequencies, and then that's what will run in that microcurrent for the rest of the time.
Okay, nice, very nice. Could you tell everybody again? We're about to close out, but could you
Yep.
just tell everybody again where they can find you if they wanted to book a session with you, or they wanted to have to purchase a Healy?
Sure. The best thing to do would definitely be to go to my website, which is avibeabove.com. If you want to look at, and like I said, yeah, the Healy, there is a Healy tab there, so you can look at my sessions if you want. You can always just reach out anyway, and if you have questions about anything. And then there is a tab there also that will tell you if you would like to purchase a device. Again, if you have any questions beforehand, please reach out to me. I'm always willing to take time and help. And again, I will offer a free scan for anyone that is on Denise's um, replay or whatever is going
Yes.
on with this.
Ah,
So just so you can see firsthand, and we can decide what part you want to check out of the Healy, and we can do that for you. And I can do it via Zoom if you would like to be able to actually see things happen in action.
I'm excited. You know what, Don, this was good. I'm gonna, if that's okay with you, I would like to have you back because I know people are gonna have questions, and then there are probably gonna be some people who may try it with you,
Sure.
and they may want to be in the chat and talk about their experience.
Absolutely, anytime.
Thank you. All right, everyone. The end of this episode of, and the title is Improving Your Health with Frequency. Dawn and I will be back another time with a follow-up conversation about this. Thank you so much, Dawn, for coming on.
Thank
And
you.
you're welcome. Guys, love you. Signing off. Talk to you later.